Ukrainian war planners are deploying a massive division strength of 15,000 combat robot soldiers to the front line against Russia's troops along the eastern front in the coming months of deadly warfare. According to the Mirror, it comes as tentative talks about a ceasefire deal look increasingly shaky and the war rages on all along the eastern front. It is noted that as Kiev's troops ferociously battle for their country's survival, this is the largest number of auto-killers commanders have sent into the bloody war, while Kiev tries to combat Russia reinforcing its military strength in the region. And commanders hope the robots will swing the balance in Ukraine's favour yet again. Ukraine is increasingly integrating robotic systems into its armed forces, aiming to reduce soldiers' direct exposure. Robots are used to deliver supplies in high-risk zones, carry out evacuations, and even engage in combat with mounted weapon systems. Some models also specialize in demining operations. To scale these efforts, Ukraine has been investing in robotics development through the Brave One Defense Tech Cluster, which supports innovation and procurement. Ukraine's broader goal is to maximize the battlefield use of unmanned systems. This year alone, Ukrainian capabilities include over 4.5 million drones of various types, 15,000 ground robots, and a significant fleet of unmanned maritime drones. The aim is clear: to save lives by letting robots do the fighting. With dwindling Western arms supplies and a resource-rich adversary, Ukraine is turning the technology to level the playing field. What started with drone warfare has expanded to advanced robotic systems, marking a new chapter in Ukraine's fight against a much larger invader. In December 2024, Ukrainian forces reached a milestone by launching their first successful attack on Russian positions using only ground and FPV drones, demonstrating the growing sophistication of Ukraine's unmanned warfare. According to Sergeant Volodymyr Detyarov of the Kharkiv Brigade, dozens of robotic and unmanned systems, including machine gun-equipped ground drones and kamikaze FPV drones, were deployed near Liptsy, north of Kharkiv. The Institute for the Study of War commented on the attack, writing, "Ukrainian officials have repeatedly highlighted Ukraine's efforts to utilize technological innovations and asymmetric strike capabilities to offset Ukraine's manpower limitations, in contrast with Russia's willingness to accept unsustainable casualty rates for marginal territorial gains. Weapons manufacturers have stepped up production lines for the electrically operated cyber troops as Moscow is stepping up attacks. The armed reconnaissance robots have been in use for some months on the Ukraine front, but this marks a step change in the high-tech war."
U.S. President Donald Trump posted a video purportedly showing dozens of Houthi fighters being killed in an American strike on Yemen, adding the comment, "Oops." Resembling images shot from military drones or other loitering aircraft, the black-and-white footage Trump posted to his Truth social network shows several dozen human figures from an almost vertical angle. "These Houthis gathered for instructions on an attack," Trump wrote in an accompanying text, using an alternate spelling for the Yemeni rebel group. The video, apparently filmed by a drone, shows dozens of people standing in an oval in rural terrain. Ammunition falls from the sky, causing an explosion and leaving a large crater. 2 vehicles and no bodies are visible in the aftermath. "These Houthis gathered for instructions on an attack. Oops, there will be no attack by these Houthis," the president wrote. "They will never sink our ships again." The Houthis control a large part of Yemen, including its capital, Sana'a. The armed group has been attacking merchant vessels in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait off the Red Sea and firing ballistic missiles at Israel in solidarity with the Palestinians in Gaza. The U.S. stepped up its strikes in Yemen last month, as Trump vowed to restore the safety of navigation in the vital shipping area. "Your attacks must stop. If they don't, hell will rain down upon you," Trump wrote on his Truth social platform in March. Yehia Sari, the spokesman for the Houthi military, reiterated on Friday that the group will not abandon its religious, moral, and humanitarian duties toward the oppressed Palestinian people, regardless of the repercussions. American forces have carried out major raids on Yemen in recent weeks in response to the group's attacks on Red Sea shipping. Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels have claimed carrying out 2 attacks on a U.S. aircraft carrier in Red Sea in the past 24 hours, the group's military spokesman Yehia Saria said on Friday. In response to U.S. aggression against our country, the Yemeni naval, missile and drone forces have carried out several drone and cruise missile strikes on enemy warships in the Red Sea, which are led by the USS Harry S. Truman, he told the Houthi-owned Al Masirah TV channel. Explaining that the attack had continued for several hours, Saria said, during the military operations, 2 air attacks on our country were foiled that the enemy had prepared. It should be noted that the U.S. started to carry out massive strikes on Houthi facilities in Yemen on March 15 after Donald Trump's order. Meanwhile, the militant group's sponsor Iran has abandoned Houthis and ordered its troops to leave Yemen amid relentless airstrikes from the U.S. The Telegraph newspaper reported with reference to a senior Iranian official that Tehran is scaling back its support of its regional proxies to focus on the direct threats emanating from the U.S. administration. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is reportedly amassing troops to brace for potential U.S. attacks after Donald Trump on Sunday threatened to bomb Iran like never before if Tehran does not make a deal over its nuclear program. Trump's remarks were in response to Tehran's rejecting direct negotiations with the United States over its nuclear program development. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio forcefully defended President Donald Trump's imposition of global tariffs on Friday in Brussels. According to Associated Press, world shares slid downward, U.S. futures fell and Wall Street appeared on track for another day of crushing losses Friday as investors counted the potential costs of Trump's latest set of tariffs, including China's retaliatory match of a 34% tariff on imports of all U.S. products. Speaking to reporters, Rubio insisted that economies were not crashing. Their markets are reacting to a dramatic change in the global order in terms of trade. And so what happens is pretty straightforward, he said. Trump announced a minimum tariff of 10% on global imports and much higher taxes on products from China, the European Union and even smaller countries like Vietnam, slapped with tariffs of 49%. Denmark's prime minister has told the U.S. during a visit to Greenland that, you cannot annex another country, even with the argument that international security is at stake. Rubio, meanwhile, says that Washington will respect Greenland's self-determination and Copenhagen should focus on the fact that the Greenlanders don't want to be a part of Denmark. Reacting to claims from Britain and France that accused Russian President Vladimir Putin is dragging his feet in ceasefire talks aimed at halting his country's invasion of Ukraine, Rubio said Putin might be. Rubio said Russia's real intentions in the negotiations will become clear within weeks. We will know from their answers very soon whether they are serious about proceeding with real peace or whether it's a delay tactic, Rubio told reporters. Now we've reached the stage where we need to make progress.
You guys ready? Let's just do questions. You guys know our ambassador?
Hello, everyone.
We brought him with us. He just started. Now he's staying behind. You're in charge.
Thank you.